You are about to meet a legend. I'm telling you the truth here. A legend, Robert Johnson. We are honored to have you on today.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here with you and share some thoughts on painting.
You've been doing it a while. What are you going to teach us today?
I'm going to focus on brushwork and the importance in making a good painting and supposedly magical brushwork. It's something that we have to do to make a decent, beautiful, and enduring painting.
I've often wondered how John Singer Sargent did that brushwork. So I'll be curious. I know you're going to address some of these kinds of things later, but I'll be curious about, did he lay in those beautiful last minute brush strokes? Did he do it along the way? And so I'm sure you're going to answer questions like that just by showing us how it's done. So let's get the show started, and then we're going to get to magical brushwork.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhodes.
Hey, welcome to Art School Live. I'm Eric, and we're here every weekday at 12 noon. We hope that you will subscribe to the program. You can find us on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and look up Art School Live. We love it when you do that. It helps us. It helps you too, because you're going to get notified when we go live. Our guest today is Robert Johnson. He's an incredible artist, and just as a matter of fact, just released a brand new art instruction course with us. It's called Flowers, Bouquets, and Brushwork. And you're going to learn a little bit about brushwork today. That comes from painttube.tv, where we have over 600 art instruction courses in high def and really high quality, good zooming and not recorded on iPhones kind of a thing, right? Really professional cameras. Anyway, Robert's a fabulous artist. He's been around and doing this for a long time. He loves to do flowers. You're going to learn a lot about brushwork today. We have a prize for you, and that is you can win a subscription to our magazine for art collectors. A lot of artists get it because they like the inspiration. Fine Art Connoisseur magazine, the digital edition, has 20% more content than the print edition, and we're going to give away a digital subscription. So if you're anywhere in the world, you can win it. We don't have to mail it. So all you got to do is put a comment in the comments section. We will be choosing from comments on live and on replay. We have live viewing, and we have a lot of people viewing from all over the world today, so welcome. Let's see, the winner of our last prize is Donna Smith in Bremen, Ohio, who won the value specs. We have for you a free gift today, and that is 97 Incredible Art Secrets. It's video, some of the top videos that we've produced, and we give you a sampling, and it's pretty long, actually. It's pretty good. And you can get it streaming, of course, or even on DVD if you want to pay the shipping. 97artsecrets.com/free. Write that down. And a reminder to subscribe to this program on YouTube. Just go to Art School Live. Now we're back with Robert Johnson. He's all set up. Robert, take it away.
Okay. I wanted to talk about the importance of brushes and brush strokes. These are some of the brushes that I use. And how to maintain them. You have to keep them nice and clean by dipping them in your solvent after using them, and then clean them every day. And
how do you clean them every day after you solvent? Do you use soap?
I use soap, and this is the way it's important to use the soap this way, because the pigment tends to accumulate at the base, and pretty soon you've got a broom instead of a brush that you're painting with. So do that with the soap, then clean it out nicely. And if you do get splayed brushes at the end, you can tighten them up and get a crisp
So you put a piece of cardboard in a clip and then,
from a cereal box or something like that.
yeah.
And you can dip them in milk, but even water would do it. But milk's a little better. It's more adhesive. And then you can just hang them up for the night. And the next day you'll have a nice crisp edge to work with.
All right. So the brush makers use gum arabic. They dip them in gum arabic to shape them and put them nice. So you can also use that. But milk works very, very much.
I haven't used that, but brushes are so important. You know, we have so few tools to create a good work of art. Unlike, say, a movie company where they'd have to have 50, 60 people working on a movie, the actors, the makeup people, and all of that. All we have is brushes, canvas, and a palette and paint. So how we handle that is so important because we have so few tools. Brushes are important. And then you have to learn how to make good brush strokes.
All right. So what have you done on your canvas there? It looks like you've already put something down. Is that dry?
I do this on all my paintings, and it's a wash of transparent oxide red, a little bit of cobalt violet, yellow ochre, just nothing to control the direction of your colors or your values, but something to cover up the white of the canvas. It's the white kind of distorts the values and doesn't give you a clear picture. So I do this on all of my paintings. And sometimes you can, this is, the fancy art word is imprimatura. And you can use some of this in some cases to show through after the painting and add a little more color. The more color you get into your painting properly, the better painting it is. Then you have to know what you can do with your brush. Brush pressure. You know that a little bit of pressure, big pressure, widen the brush. And the longer it goes, the lighter it's going to get. So you lift up the pressure and you can create that brush stroke. I'll do another one. Widens it so you can capture the image that you're trying to describe. Sargent, you mentioned Sargent, but that he did it so well, whether it's clothing or hair, skin, they were all descriptive brushwork.
You know, I wonder if he did it is when he was touching up his painting towards the end, if he said, "Oh, I got to get some really great brush strokes in here," and he laid some of those in at the last minute. What do you think?
Yeah, that is true. His brushwork is wonderful. The other thing I wanted to show you while we're looking at this whole thing is something called a value run, that you can get the same kind of feel. You start with the paint. You could start with a light on your brush and go to dark, or you can start on the dark and go to light. But it's kind of how you get the feeling of movement, of form. I have a painting that I'll show you where that indicates that form. So you have to learn how to use that, the pressure, the angle, and look up and you see the form that you're trying to describe. And it's almost like your brush is not on your canvas, it's on that form. I'm going to do a little demonstration here. A monochrome, which I encourage people to do. Just a piece of fruit. Let's make it an apple. But the brush, what I'm trying to demonstrate is that the brush is always on the object. Then I wanted to use this just to show how you create form. Form in the human face, form on a tree in a landscape, form on a vessel that's holding flowers. So important. And this is another tool that is not used as a painting tool. It's used as a cleanup tool, but it is a painting tool. So when you use this, you use it just with that idea, that form in there. I see there's a lot of kind of scrubbing that goes on when a painter picks up a brush. Instead of using that brush to describe flower petals or a nose or a chin or something like that. So I want to use this little demonstration here to show you how you create form. That all form, trees, heads, arms, legs, fingers, apples, oranges, create that form that have the same steps, all of them. You have the beginning light. On this side. Then you have a highlight. I'm going to use a paper. I could put that on with a lighter color if I had to, but I think I can use this to, bring it out.
Did you dip that in a little bit of mineral spirits?
Yes, Gamsol. And then this is the first step, the basic color of the apple, the highlight. Then there's a shadow area here. And there's a very soft turn between those. And I didn't mention this, but I'm going to bring it out. Just a lot of ways you can create that soft turn. But one way is with this fan brush. That'll blend that so it's a soft turn. Then the shadow is very dark here. And the other thing that is missing in a lot of paintings is this concept of reflected light coming up off of the surface and gives that form its true image. And without that, it won't have that form. It's, one way when I'm teaching, I ask the students to get the chance to see a half moon and look at it carefully. It doesn't look like a round sphere. It looks like a flat piece of a puzzle or something like that. It's because there's nothing around it to show this. That reflected light. So here's the steps. You've got the color of the object. You got the highlight, a soft turn, then the shadow area, and then the reflected light. So that's how you create form, whatever you're focusing on. I have a few. Oh, I wanted to show one other thing while I'm here. The other thing you need for your painting tools, of course, palette knives, and which you can use in the painting. And this is something Eric mentioned Sargent, but one of his quotes was, I begin almost every painting session with a scraper, and getting all the dead paint off of the canvas. So you need a good tool like this to do it with a curved edge so that it doesn't interrupt the, it doesn't cut into the canvas or that. So I have and then you can use this palette knife to apply your paint. And somehow, with a palette knife application, the painting many times seems more intense. Because the brush doesn't work into the paint. This is a little darker than that, but it's the same paint. It's just applied with a flat palette knife. The other thing you can do with a palette knife is get some really sensitive, small edges in, like edge of a rose leaf or baby's breath. I've used it on. So, and it adds, also you can add color into this, and it gets some, you can add kind of secretly, if you will, add color to your painting with these palette knife strokes that give it some variety. That's got a little bit of orange in it. Didn't come through. Little difference, subtle differences in the color. Now, I have a few paintings that I can put up here briefly to illustrate some of the finished work here, what we're after.
And then we're going to do a demo. Is that right?
I'm going to do a demo right as soon as we make this point, Eric. That's palette knife work in the finished painting.
This is great camera work. Congrats to your camera person.
She's very good. And over here, you can see how I used it on some of the stems to get that subtle little center of the stem, the leaves. And I have another painting here to show the creation of form that we just discussed.
You guys are digging this. Give him a thumbs up and please share it so other people can see it.
This is just what we just discussed in a finished painting. The form, the color of the vessel, Mexican, I think, or maybe American, Native American, but I did it out west. Then it's got the soft turn, a highlight, and the highlights all occur on the most convex part of the form or the most concave part of the form here. So that goes the color of the vase, the highlights, then the soft turn here. you can do it with the tap of a towel or the fan brush, or even dragging the colors together gently. And then, but importantly, it's got the reflected light and then the cast shadow. Those are the elements that make up all the form that we observe. Okay, yesterday I set up some flowers for this event, and they're flowers that I don't normally paint. But they're peonies, but they're artificial. I like to paint the live things, but it's February here in Washington, D.C., and
Well, they'll be out in a couple of months.
yeah, they'll be out soon, and I'll enjoy them. So I'm going to try to show you with color and paint just a little bit of what we just talked about. Good brushwork describing the form. I'm going to focus on this form right here and see if we can get it looking like the real peony. And show you how the brushstrokes are so important.
Let me ask you this. You have the streaks that you have coming out, bursting out look like transparent brown oxide, but the background of your drape is cool. So do you try to put warms in instead of cools for shadows?
I don't think as much about warms and cools as I do about lights and darks.
Okay.
I know it is important on a sunny day, you're doing a landscape, but I wanted these, I guess this is warm with a cool white as light, it shows it off more. But I don't let that paralyze me when I'm painting. Thinking about what's warm, what's cool. Follow the form of your object.
So tell us what you're doing here.
I'm sorry.
Tell us what you're doing here.
Okay, I'm chose this little flower, a little bud of a peony, and I'm trying to demonstrate how the brushstrokes are applied. And I'll demonstrate this also. They get a little darker as they recede or turn. So make it just subtly darker. To get that same form we got when I illustrated the apple. It's turning, and the brush is always on the surface of that flower. And the interior of the flower. Capture that so you get the basic, the light, the dark shape. But every stroke it's on your canvas, but basically it's on that flower. Very dark in here. So every stroke that you put down moves the painting forward, and it's kind of the opposite of what you would think, that if you paint slowly, you think you're never going to finish the painting. But the fact is that if you make every brushstroke count, the painting moves forward more quickly. I think Sargent understood that with his wonderful brushstroke.
Richard Schmid told me he used to make a lot of mistakes, and so he slowed down his brushwork and to try to get it perfect the first time, so he's not always going back in and correcting things.
Wow, that's he's one of my heroes, and he knew what he was doing. That's for sure. Taught us a lot with his books. I recommend the books to the audience too. He wrote quite a few.
They're going to be debuting his newest book at the upcoming plein air convention.
Oh, I didn't know he had another one coming out.
He's got several more coming out.
Trying to get the light and the dark in there, but if there's anything that comes out of this video that is helpful, I hope it's that make each brushstroke count. Everything you know about painting, everything you understand about the setup, everything goes into that one brushstroke. And I think Richard Schmid is absolutely right. I think the painting counterintuitively moves forward faster if you do this.
Yeah, it seems like it would be slower, but it actually is probably much more efficient.
I think it is. When I'm teaching and the class is getting close to the final time for the class, I tell them to slow up, capture it right. And what we're also seeing here is the flow of the light. With light on the brush, lift the pressure, gets darker. Captures that.
Can you do that one more time and see if we can get a close-up of it? That was really, really a good lesson. Okay, good. Let's do it one more time.
Okay, this is starting with the light and going to the dark. So you lift up the pressure on the brush.
So it's blending, and that blends it in.
Yeah. Yes, it gets darker and there's more color in there, but that blends it in. You can do it with the dark too, but let's get this. I think we could get a little more light here. And this is a good one to get across too. Look, they turn the brush to get this light on the bottom, and it's just turning and getting slightly darker as it turns.
So it's important to have that dark end first.
Yeah, let's let's do this again. A little more of a turn.
Very effective.
All right. I think it needs a little bit of interior, the way this interior of the flowers come out.
All right, let's see if we can get closer again. That was good.
they're pretty delicate. You know, for the viewers, when you get to these delicate things like that, get used to using your palette knife. And
Robert, you need some oil for your chair.
oh yeah.
You don't even notice it. It's been squeaking for years, I'll bet.
I didn't notice it, Eric.
Now it's going to drive you nuts.
Now it will. A little bit of focus. Now, this is another thing about brushwork. A very light touch to get the shadow coming out of there. What's the brush pressure? You should think about that every time. You know, and that's the curve. And it won't look like a flower unless I get some of the greens in there. Now this, since it's a artificial flower, I'm going to take some leeway with them. This is an interesting start. This is just what we demonstrated. This bottom part of the peony starts sharp. It expands, and so you put more pressure on it to make the brush expand.
Wow, what a great tool. Get that nice little bud.
Yeah. It needs a stem. That's wrong. And I want to get one little demonstration of the foliage. You know, when you're doing flowers, there is I'm going to take you can take liberty with the greens. There are lots of variety in them. You can get some good brushwork in with the greens, some lengthy, short, long things.
This is fascinating to me, Robert.
Oh, I hope it's helpful to everybody.
Very helpful.
Wide, as the petal goes down, it gets wide. So you push the brush, push it, then lift it up.
Nice. Hey, what do you say we take a quick break?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, get a glass of water or something. We'll be right back. Our guest today is Robert Johnson, and we are celebrating because he has a brand new art instruction video out. It is a complete course on painting flowers, bouquets, and brushwork. Robert is known for his amazing flowers, and this one was just filmed, and this is just being released right now.
Hi, I'm Robert Johnson, and I want to welcome you to my Still Life workshop. In this workshop, I want to get across to you some of the basic concepts of painting to kind of make a marriage of those basic concepts with human creativity and individuality. If we recognize beauty in the world and we want to capture it, then we need those concepts that have been passed along to us through the years. if we want to be innovative and new and fit into some concepts of the art world, we have to recognize that we're individuals and we will be expressing ourselves individually. So we'll be going into things like descriptive brushstrokes, design, values, edges, and other concepts that have been arrived at through the years and passed along to us, as well as how to make the painting, your painting, endure and be appreciated by others as your painting. Come along and join me in this workshop. The painting is a great joy to all of us, and I hope you'll share this with me as we go through this painting.
It's at painttube.tv. PaintTube has over 600 art instruction courses in depth, probably the world's largest collection of in-depth art instruction courses filmed in high definition, at least the ones that were done recently, and really fabulous things at painttube.tv. So make sure to check out Robert's video. I see people in the comments saying they already got it. Cool. Thank you for that. Now we're going to get back to Robert Johnson. Robert, take it away. You're doing brush strokes and you're just blowing us away.
Okay. You know, the greenery is such a big part of a floral painting. Let me get into that. And I wanted to say also that since these peonies that I'm trying to capture here are artificial, I've strayed a little from the actual color just for better painting. Y'all, I think we all should always be free to make a change that's going to make our painting stronger and better, even if it departs from the reality that we see up there.
Well, if you've done plein air painting, you know what reality looks like. So it helps you to be able to make those kind of changes in light and color and so on.
Oh, yes. That's what we learned from plein air painting, isn't it? To make those changes from the scene that you're seeing and move that beer can out of the foreground and that type of thing. Artistic license is the fancy way they refer to that.
You don't drink beer when you're painting, do you?
Some of my friends do. No, I don't think that's good. But, you know, the other thing about the greenery, you can use it. You have liberty with it. I added a little bit of the pink into that green. And
it mutes it right down. It's nice.
And it adds a little bit of the color of the flower in there, you know. And I'll show you the other thing, since I rambled on about palette knife. This is where you can use it. You know, it would be very hard to do that with a brush. I have some small brushes, but it's very hard to get that fine line with a brush. I like, and this is lift up the brush, and it gets narrower. Let's see if we can. I want to demonstrate one thing here, just to get this point across about the brush pressure. This flower up here has it's very colorful. I don't know what this part of the flower is called, but a lot of them have some they call sepals for roses. Like this one, let me show you. It's got green around the bottom where it comes off the stem, and that green is reduced slightly, so you lift the brush and get that almost biological transfer of the color just by your brush pressure. I'll do it again on another one. It's red at the top. And it's going to get, we're going to get lighter down here. And light at the bottom. But we lift the brush slightly and it bleeds in there like it's part of the flower. Brush pressure. I'll do it again. Lifting up the brush and it flows in there. I could give you more of that flower back there in the back. The way it flows starts out very light up here. It goes around, that petal goes out and it blends in. And it blends in with the contours of the flower itself. So you're not only describing the color, but you're describing the form. Got a little curve in it here.
You must be loading up your brush pretty thick.
Yes, I'm picking up a good load each time it gets.
Can we have a camera person next time you scoop into your paint, so just have her look at that so we can get a feel for how much you load up your brush?
Okay.
All right.
Get it right on the end.
So you're scooping it up.
Scooping it up to the end. It goes on the end of the brush.
All right.
So that's where your bristles are, and that's where you're going to get the sharpness.
Thank you, camera person.
I'm going to get back to this guy here. Again, it's the brush pressure. It's almost like your brush is on that petal and not on the canvas. The direction, the pressure. Light up here, sharp edge. It's kind of an amazing thing that, if you just make every brush stroke count, pretty soon there's a peony coming out of there. Sharp edges. I'm going to take some liberty in here. It doesn't look like then that's because it's artificial. I like that better. Seems like, and the more you do this, the more instinct is established in your painting process. The athletes call it muscle memory. When you look up there and the image that is transmitted goes straight to the end of your brush without the clumsy interruption of our brain. That's what we want. Dark in here. Like a tennis player or a golfer, football, whatever. That's what they're trying to achieve with all the training is muscle memory. And that's what we want as artists, to eliminate that clumsy interruption of our brain while we paint.
Changed a lot, considerably.
Yeah. Oh,
So we're going to wrap in about 5 minutes. So I just want to give you a little warning.
okay, thanks. We'll push it as far as we can. Maybe slow up a little.
Slow up. Is that anything like slow down?
Yeah. There's one thing I want to get across before we part. I see very tiny hints of pink at the tips of some of the petals. And I want to show how you can capture that and blend it in just by brush pressure. There's more pink here, but as it goes down into the light, it gets dark. It gets lighter, less colorful, let's say. As we push it in. I see some of it down here. As you lift the brush and release the pressure, it flows just almost organically. That's what we want to capture, reality with the minimum of effort. A little bit there. It'd be, if we were working with natural peonies, we'd have a little more color in there. We'd have a lot more color in the greens in natural. And if we got dark on it, just the opposite. Look, dark going to light. You capture the flow of the petal and also the color at the same time. delicate here. Oh, let me, it's just occurred to me, this might be a good opportunity to use our palette knife for the very delicate little edges that we see here and there. That's good with it on the end. That's hard to do with a palette knife because the pressure is what creates these subtle value changes. And the stroke itself blends. Very delicate. You know, you can get some variety. What we want in our paintings are variety within unity, so to speak. That's the way nature is. It's so much variety. If you look at the rose bushes in your yard or trees in a landscape or rocks or whatever, there's very little, if any, repetition. So if we're going to capture nature, we have to get that variety. Shapes, location, size, placement, all of that's, variety is better than repetition. Different directions in the greenery. This one's coming out at us. Start here. It's very sharp and light touch. Brush gets wider, flows under. You may think that this is tedious, but actually it's more enjoyable to see the image emerge like it is. Now, we're not going to have time enough to talk for me to ramble on about edges, but they're very important. So I'd probably not have so many sharp edges, except where I really want the viewer's eye to go in the end. A little bit lighter in here. Going up.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, it's time. We're going to have to stop. It looks so beautiful.
I enjoyed it very much.
Why don't you come back on camera so we can see you and we can part ways?
Okay.
So our guest today is Robert Johnson. In case you tuned in late, Robert is a fabulous painter. He's been doing it. How long have you been painting, Robert?
Oh, since the 80s, full time. I started when I was 6, but I had little distractions along the way, football and law school, and but in the 80s, I became a full-time painter.
Are you a lawyer?
I was a lawyer,
Yeah. Well, we won't hold that against you.
yeah.
Well, I want to congratulate you. Robert's got a brand new course out, Flowers, Bouquets, and Brushwork, and that's at painttube.tv, and it's absolutely fabulous. You're going to love it. I got a chance to see that painting in person, and it just blows me away. It's so beautiful. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to do it, and thank your staff for doing such a good job.
Well, you know, you had done a lot of videos over the years with Lilidol, whom we eventually acquired, and they always do so well. Everybody loves them so much. We thought it was good to get a new one under our belt. So thanks for doing that.
My pleasure.
All right, Robert, thanks for being on today. You guys give him thumbs up and applause. It was really terrific. Thanks, Robert.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
And thanks again to your camera person. They did a great job today.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye. Well, our guest today, Robert Johnson, and fabulous. I think that, you know, I learned a lot about brushwork. I remember it reminded me a lot of watching Richard Schmid paint, because Richard was very slow and deliberate, and he would load up that brush and then he would blend it in like that. But I never could figure out how he did it until today. So I'm really anxious to get in there and watch that new video that Robert's come in to find out how he does all these different techniques. Well, here we are at the end again. Thank you again for watching and tuning in. We're here every day, every weekday at 12 noon, Art School Live. You can find us on YouTube, and please subscribe. Just go to youtube.com and find Art School Live and hit that subscribe button. That'd be really appreciated. And thanks for being here today.